A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashing Sanibira Singha. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Government plans to scrutinize the state banks. All set to convene the new parliament tomorrow. News in detail. The inaugural session of the 9th Parliament will meet tomorrow and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is due to present the new government policy statement at the ceremonial sitting of the first session. Meanwhile, Cabinet of Ministers this morning has approved a proposal to abolish the 19th Amendment to the Constitution and to draft the 20th Amendment soon. The first sitting of the 9th Parliament will commence at 9:30 am tomorrow and the main task of it will be the appointment of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker and the Deputy Chairperson of committees in accordance with Standing Order number 1 of Parliament and taking the official oath or affirmation of all new members of the Parliament.
රැස්වීමේ ප්‍රධාන කාර්ය වෙන්නේ ගරු කතානායකවරයෙක් පත් කර ගැනීම. කතානායකවරයා පත් වෙන්නේ රහස් ඡන්දයෙන්. ඊට පස්සේ නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකවරයෙක් සහ නියෝජ්‍ය කාරක සභාපතිවරයෙක් ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී තෝරා පත් කර ගැනීමට නියමව තිබෙනවා. ඉන්පසු පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කටයුතු අත්හිටුවනු ලබනවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුව නැවත වාරයක් සවස 3ට රැස් වෙලා මංගල සැසිය අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් පැවැත්වෙනවා. ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා රජයේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමට නියම වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake also revealed the seating arrangement and all other activities that will be conducted under the directives of the health authorities. He also added that all the elected MPs were informed to attend the tomorrow's meeting. However, he revealed that 2 seats will be kept empty during the first session as United National Party and Our People's Power Party have failed to nominate their national list MPs. Meanwhile, the ruling party sources announced that Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena has been appointed as the leader of the House in the new parliament. They also announced that Minister Johnston Fernando has been appointed as the new Chief Government Whip. Meanwhile, the first meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers took place this morning at the Presidential Secretariat and newly appointed Cabinet spokesman Minister Keheliya Rambukwala said that the Cabinet of Ministers granted the approval to abolish the 19th Amendment to the Constitution and to draft the 20th Amendment soon. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa states that officials need to work creatively for the development of local industries and priority should be given to grassroots level issues. President made this observation at a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday on the future plans of the State Ministry of Cane, Brass, Clay, Furniture and Rural Industrial Promotion. Accordingly, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa emphasizes that traditional industries cannot be allowed to collapse due to the strict rules and regulations by the available systems. He points out that by making laws that are not sensitive to traditional industries, those industries as well as the livelihood of the local industrialists have been disrupted. President added that follow-up is an essential factor in whether government decisions are implemented at the grassroots level. The development of traditional industries that have not received proper attention in the long run is a task that needs to be done in a planned manner, the President emphasized. President also added that the structure of the state ministries was prepared with a special focus on each sector. Moreover, President emphasized the importance of implementing short-term and long-term plans to solve problems and uplift the local industry and to monitor them regularly. He instructed the officials to look into the problems faced by the industrialists in transporting and obtaining clay and to reopen the clay-based manufacturing establishments which have been closed down at present. The Ministry of Finance announces that a 4-member committee has been appointed to investigate the allegations of irregularities and malpractices taken contrary to the objectives at the 4 main state banks of the country during the last 5 years. Accordingly, a 4-member committee has been appointed to formally study the irregularities, instances of violating the objectives and procedures of respective institutions, provision of the Banking Act as well as the unproductive activities and transactions at the Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, National Savings Bank, Regional Development Bank and affiliated institutions after 8th of January 2015. The said committee is entrusted with submitting recommendations on legal, financial and administrative steps required to prevent any such situation from occurring in the future and also to identify the officials and external parties responsible for financial losses. The committee will also make recommendations to transform the state banking system into a more people-friendly service. The committee is chaired by former High Court Judge Sisira Ratnayaka and also includes Chartered Accountant Susantha De Silva and retired Additional Auditor General W. Premananda. A representative of the Finance Ministry will serve as the secretary of the committee. The committee has been instructed to submit its report within 3 months to the Secretary of the Finance Ministry, who in turn will present it to the Cabinet of Ministers. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Relations, retired Admiral Professor Joynath Kolumbage stresses that the COVID-19 is a clarion call to restructure the country's economy from import-based economy to an export-based economy. Foreign Ministry Secretary made these observations today morning at the event of the assumption of duties of State Minister of Regional Cooperation, Tharaka Balasurya. Accordingly, Tharaka Balasurya assumed duties as the State Minister of Regional Cooperation at the Foreign Ministry today morning. The State Minister assumed duties amidst the blessings of the religious leaders. In the meantime, Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Relations, retired Admiral Professor Joynath Kolumbage highlighted the fact that states have not paid significant attention on rebuilding the regional cooperation over the last few years.
We have neglected our region for a long time. The economic integration of South Asia region is less than 5% of our combined GDP. We have a long way to go. Sri Lanka is situated in a very important geographical location. We are one country which is part of South Asia, SAARC, and also BIMSTEC. And we are one country where the Western Indian Ocean or the Arabian Sea meet the Bay of Bengal. So we are not a small country in geostrategic sense. This COVID has given us an opportunity to look at ourselves, revisit our economic model, a transformation from an import-based, import-dependent economy to a production-based and export-oriented economy.
Minister of Labour Nimal Siripala De Silva says that steps will be taken to repatriate 1,600 Sri Lankans in Korea whose employment contracts have expired within 2 months. Minister made these observations at a discussion held with officials of the Korean Institute of Human Resource Development in Sri Lanka at the Ministry of Labour yesterday.
කොරියාවට යවන ලද අපේ ශ්‍රමිකයන්ගෙන් 1600ක පමණ පිරිසකගේ කාලය අවසන් වෙලා ඔවුන් කොරියාවේ රැඳී සිටිනවා ලංකාවට එන්න බැරුව මේ කොවිඩ් ආසාදනය නිසා. කොරියාවේ නීතිය අනුව ඔවුන් ලංකාවට ගෙන්වා ගන්නාත් එක්ක කොරියාවට අලුතෙන් ශ්‍රමිකයන් අපිට යවන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ වහාම විසඳිය යුතු නිසා මම ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සේවාවත් ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ නිරෝධ ආයතනයේ බහර හමුදාවේ ඒ නිලධාරීනුත් සියල්ල ගෙනලා සාකච්ඡා කළ ක්‍රමවේදයක් සකස් කරා ඉතා ඉක්මනින් දැනට කොරියාවේ සිටින 1600ක් පමණ කාල සීමාව අවසන් වූ ශ්‍රමිකයන් ලංකාවට ගෙනීම සඳහා. මෙහිදී අපි පොරොන්දු වුණා නිරෝධ ආයතන මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් අප විසින්ම මධ්‍යස්ථාන කීපයක් අපගේ පුහුණු මධ්‍යස්ථානවල විවෘත කරලා අන්තර්ජාතික ප්‍රමිතීන්ට ගැලපෙන අයුරින් ඒවා සකස් කරලා ඒ ගෙනේන ශ්‍රමිකයන්ට ආහාර පාන ආදී සහ පහසුකම් සියල්ල දින 14කට ලබා දීමටත් විශේෂ ගුවන් යානා ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සේවය මගින් යවලා ඒ අය මාස දෙකක කාල සීමාවත් තුළ මේ සියලු දෙනාම ලංකාවට ගෙනීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය වැඩපිළිවෙල සකස් කරා. ඒ වගේම කොරියානු නියෝජිතයා අපිට පෙන්නලා දුන්නා දැනට මේ විභාග පවත්වීම සඳහා තියෙන පහසුකම් මදි පාඩුව. ඒ නිසා දැනට අපි හෝමාගම මේ ආයතනයේ අපේ ආයතනයේ සතුව අක්කර 4ක පමණ ඉඩමක් තියෙනවා. ඉතා ඉක්මනින් එහි తాවකාලික හෝ ගොඩනැගිලි හදලා 200කට පමණ එකවරම විභාගයට පෙනී සිටීමට පුළුවන් විභාග මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් අවශ්‍ය කම්පියුටර් යන්ත්‍ර සියල්ල සකස් කළා සෑදීමට අපි තීරණය කරා. ඒ සඳහා අවශ්‍ය ඒ තාක්ෂණික උපකරණ කොරියාවෙන් ලබා දීමටත් එකඟ වුණා.
World Health Organization states that from a logistics perspective, COVID-19 has been one of the toughest challenges it has ever faced. Consequently, WHO Chief Dr. Ghebreyesus made these observations addressing the regular COVID-19 press briefing yesterday.
Every new disease outbreak presents new challenges, but from a logistics perspective, COVID-19 has been one of the toughest challenges we have ever faced because this respiratory disease passes relatively easily between people. When this outbreak started, there was an urgent need to get advice, information, training, and equipment to frontline workers. As this was happening and outbreaks started to spread in other countries, there was a huge surge in demand for personal protective equipment, such as medical masks, gowns, gloves, and face protection. Manufacturers in several key countries were under so-called lockdown, and there was a collapse in air transport, which is imperative for sending supplies around the world. Some countries put in place export restrictions, and there were several instances of requisitioning key medical supplies for national use.
We'll be back with stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 71.11 points to close at 5,351.03 and the S&P SL 20 gained 39.15 points to close at 2,370.29. The turnover was 3.8 billion rupees and over 231 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all the news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Until then, take care. Good night.